What would happen to your mind if you cut out every quick dopamine hit for 24 hours? No phone, no junk, nothing?
I tried a so-called dopamine reset for one day, and what it did to my brain honestly scared me.
Online, dopamine resets are sold like magic brain cleanses. But psychology paints a more grounded and honestly more useful picture.
Over time, my brain adapted. Regular life started feeling flat, while I craved more intense, more constant stimulation. The first moment of the reset, my arm reached for my phone before I was even fully awake. Pure autopilot.
In psychology, that's a habit loop. Something cues you, you do the routine, and your brain remembers the reward.
Without my usual morning scrolling, time suddenly stretched. Boredom felt louder, heavier, almost like a physical weight. My body actually twitched to check the phone. Research suggests that when habits are strong, urges can feel almost like withdrawal.
Psychology sees boredom as a signal, not a failure. It pushes you to search for something more meaningful to do. It was like turning down a noisy TV. At first, the sudden quiet felt wrong, and my brain begged for the chaos back.
This was the first terrifying part, realizing how often my brain pulled my body into actions I didn't consciously choose.
But the moment you see the strings, you're already less controlled by them. Awareness is the first cut of the scissors. Dopamine moves through brain circuits that link motivation, emotion, and thinking. It helps decide what's worth it to pursue. Fast, flashy rewards spike that system quickly. Slower activities give smaller waves, but can actually feel more satisfying over time.
Over time, my brain got used to the spikes, and that made the quiet, everyday parts of life feel strangely flat.
In psychology, that pattern is called avoidance. It works short-term, but long-term it keeps the same problems puddling up.
And just to be clear, this is education, not therapy. And if this hits hard, real mental health support can make a big difference. When I stopped fighting the discomfort and just watched it, I realized I wasn't broken. I was tired, lonely, and stressed. Just saying out loud, I feel tired, I feel lonely, I feel tense, already made those feelings feel a tiny bit smaller.
So I wrote down 2 questions. What am I avoiding? And what do I actually need right now under this craving? The answers were simple. I needed real rest, a bit of movement, and actually talking to people, not more endless scrolling.
So I did 3 tiny things. Drank a glass of water, opened a window, and went for a short, phone-free walk. With nothing in my hands and no noise in my ears, my brain finally had space to just notice again.
I noticed the sound of my steps, the feel of the air, the rhythm of my breathing, and it was oddly calming.
It felt like the volume on my mental noise dropped, and a quieter kind of awareness turned up a little. Research suggests that short breaks from heavy screen time can make things like walks or real conversations feel rewarding again. But it's not a miracle. Effects vary a lot from person to person, so treat this as an experiment, not a cure. Back at my desk, something surprising happened. I could actually stay with one task without bouncing to 5 others. The urges were still there, like little ghosts tapping on the glass. But without quick access, they floated past more easily.
In therapy, there's a tool called urge surfing. You ride the craving like a wave, knowing it will rise and then fall. I practiced that. Notice the craving, breathe with it, and wait. Most waves shrank on their own after a few minutes. One simple trick. Tell yourself, if I still want it in 10 minutes, I'll decide then. Often, the craving fades before that. But then a deeper thought hit me. Without distractions, who am I when it's just me and my mind? Old regrets, future fears, even good moments I'd forgotten started playing like a movie I couldn't just swipe away.
So I tried self-compassion instead of self-attack, talking to myself like I would to a close friend who's having a rough day. Simple lines like, "This is hard, anyone would struggle, I'm learning," actually calmed my nervous system more than any app. The next morning, my arm still reached for my phone on autopilot, but now I could actually notice it and pause. One reset didn't erase my habits, but it did give me room for small swaps, scroll or book, snack or stretch, DM or real talk. What really scared me wasn't my brain is broken. It was realizing my strongest habits were secretly running most of my day. But habits are learned patterns, which means with choice, design, and practice, they can also be reshaped over time. I started shaping my space. Phone in a drawer, book on my pillow, shoes by the door, so good choices were easier to reach.
For many people, tiny daily mini resets work better than extreme detoxes. Just pick one boundary and try it gently. For example, no phone for the first 30 minutes after waking. Let your mind arrive before the world rushes in. Or put phones in a home base during meals. Research links device-free meals to better mood and stronger connection. For focus, even one 20 or 25-minute block with your phone in another room can feel very different for your brain. If your habits feel totally out of control or tied to deep pain, this video isn't enough. Therapy support can really help.
I like to picture 3 jars: fast rewards, slow rewards, and rest, and my fast jar was overflowing.
A dopamine reset isn't about emptying fast rewards to zero. It's about slowly refilling the slow reward and rest jars. Your attention is like a plant. Constant buzzing makes it wilt, but moving the phone away lets it stand tall again. Even a few minutes of boredom training, sitting quietly on purpose, can build your muscles for just being with yourself. Think staircase, not rocket ship. 1 minute, then 5, then 10. Tiny steps repeated beat one massive detox.
For me, change looked like tiny swaps. 1 page of reading instead of doom scrolling. 1 stretch instead of a random snack. I still have strings, of course. I've just tried to reattach more of them to things that actually restore me, not only distract me. If this sounds familiar, you're not uniquely broken. Our whole world is built to grab your dopamine and your attention.
Healthy boundaries aren't about rejecting tech. They're about choosing when to engage instead of reacting to every ping. My 24-hour reset didn't delete the fun stuff. It just helped me put it back in balance with rest and real connection. In the end, what terrified me wasn't my brain's reaction. It was finally seeing honestly how I'd been treating it. Once I started listening, my brain felt less like an enemy and more like a teammate that had been pushed too hard for too long.
If you're curious, try your own gentle test. 1 hour with no quick hits, and just see what your mind does.
Afterward, ask, what did I keep reaching for, and what was I really needing underneath that urge? A 24-hour dopamine reset won't fix everything, but it can be a powerful mirror. If this helped, try one small change and maybe share it with someone.
Before you scroll away, just notice how many times your hand reaches for a quick hit today, and gently ask, what am I really needing right now?